Okay, YouTube. So, how are you guys? So this is a picture that some of you may have seen, some of you may have not seen. There is a bunch of stuff going on about it. There was a roundtable meeting recently with the OCB. Scott Simmons was there, president of the Ontario Craft Brewers Association. Muskoka Brewing Company was there. Bench was there. Great Lakes Brewing Company was there. Niagara College Teaching Brewery was there. Ooh, wasn't there one more? Bench, Great Lakes, Muskoka, All or Nothing, Niagara College. I can't remember off the top. There was the past chief operating officer of Salt Lake City there. And, of course, Sam Oosterhoff. Sam Oosterhoff. Now, here, before we get talking about things that go on, okay, I understand that the OCB has a lot of members, from extremely conservative members to very, very liberal, proactive, in your face type of membership. It is a lobby group. It's a lobby group about craft beer. So I understand that you have to deal with the party in power. Party in power being the conservatives, and the party in power also wanting to do things like push beer into the corner stores. Um,
Fuel alcoholism.
well, you know what? Whatever. Okay, so I understand why this roundtable is happening. The Niagara College representative was not John Downing, if anyone's wondering. It wasn't him. Um, Great Lakes has always been pro-conservative, and again, if you're a conservative, you're conservative. It doesn't matter. Muskoka has always been basically sitting on the fence. Um, I think the big thing that people are getting on this, one, they're forgetting that the OCB, because they're like, well, there's a couple breweries that have even come out and said we're not renewing our OCB membership here
Oh, really?
because of this photo op. And, you have the right to do that. But I think the thing a lot of people are forgetting is, one, that this is a lobby group, and two, you're dealing with the party in power. I think the linchpin in this whole thing, though, is Sam Oosterhoff.
Yep.
And Sam Oosterhoff was elected at the age of 19. He is now 21. He was the youngest MPP ever elected. Um, he just looks like the little pretty boy that's been spoiled his whole life. He has called the police on elderly people that did a read in his office, because he was one of the people that voted to shut down library services, the between library services where you could move books from one library to another. Uh, he's also the man that said that he was going to make abortion unthinkable in our lifetime. Um, and he's the guy that was in that photo op. You can't control who the conservatives are going to send to your meetings. However, you also don't have to be in a photo op with them when they're sent there. Um, oh, Bench was the other one, because it was at Bench.
Like you said, Ben.
uh, but I mean, you don't have to be part of that photo op. And the thing with the photo ops is, they demand a photo op when they do these type of things, but you sitting there smiling, cheersing him, is basically an endorsement of him. And again, you can endorse the conservatives if you want. It's not all conservatives that have the same view as him, because that's the weird thing about our legal system and our political system and our government, is just that you get into your party because you follow most of the thoughts of that party. You're mostly aligned with that party.
The base
But
principle.
everybody still has a few offsets. And I don't know how I feel about this. I do find it hysterical how quickly Sawdust City jumped on it. As soon as they saw their ex COO in Sawdust City merch in this picture, they jumped on it. They sent out they've been tweeting all day about how they're not at all connected to this. They did not know he was going to be there.
Them?
No, I can't blame them. People are like, well, you're looking to be offended by everything, and it's not really looking to be offended by anything. It's not wanting to support certain ideas. And in the beer industry, there is over 200 breweries in Ontario. Guess what? the OCB doesn't have all 200 craft breweries under their flag. So even if you decided to boycott every single OCB brew, you still have lots of beers you can choose from. If you only want to if you only want to boycott the ones that were there, you still have lots of beers to choose from. You can speak with your dollar and you can say, "Look, these are the people that were in on this photo op. These are the people that were smiling with a man who wants to take away choice from women, who calls the cops on the elderly that are just doing their legal right to protest peacefully, who wants to shut down anyone that's against him and doesn't want to talk about anything. You are more than welcome to do that, and you shouldn't be badmouthed for it. It shouldn't be, oh, this world has become way too PC or anything like that, because it isn't even a PC thing. It's a, we don't want to support somebody that's going to support those ideas and those ideas.
People who don't support him are getting called snowflakes or whatever, but really, at the end of the day, he's the one who couldn't handle some elderly people sitting in his office doing a read-in over his choice to cancel library services or his choice to vote against or vote for canceling those library services. He, as a politician, should stop acting like a quintessential spoiled brat
but he's a 21-year-old kid
and take the criticism that every politician is going to have to take. I don't care which politician you are, there will always be a criticism against you. Period. End of story. You need to learn to take it in stride. You don't get to call the cops on everybody who protests against you.
Backbenchers make more than $100,000 a year. So at 19, he was making over $100,000 a year to have his views the way they are.
We probably shouldn't put 20-year-olds with no life experience in any kind of power position. Probably shouldn't happen. Just saying. Putting that out there.
Yes, Maple Rusky, Sawdust. No, Sawdust, that's the thing, Maple Rusky. Sawdust was not there. Sawdust had nothing to do with it. Their ex-chief operating officer was there, wearing one of their shirts. The school you're in was there. And I didn't even recognize the person that was in the picture. It wasn't John Downing. It wasn't Alan Brown. It wasn't... I don't even know who the fuck that was. It kind of looked like one of the ex-students that was there a few years ago that was hardcore Bible-thumping conservative.
It's possible.
Good day, Betty Boop. Nothing's up. Yeah, I don't even know where to go with the story. I mean, the picture just makes me angry. Every time I see that kid in photos, and I'm not a mean guy, I'm not a violent guy, I'm nothing like that, but every time I see that kid in photos, I just want to slap that smile off his face. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know why. I don't know why I want to, but I want to.
You know he's a spoiled rich kid who's completely out of touch with reality.
And I mean,
and
I don't...
has more of a say in the world than, you know,
I don't care if you're conservative, you're liberal, you're NDP, you're green, you're libertarian, whatever you are. I can't fathom saying that I'm going to make it illegal for somebody to have a choice over their life or their body. So again, I guess, and I mean, we talked about this before we went live, that it's understandable that the OCB was part of this roundtable. Mm-hmm. The convenience store, the president of the convenience store lobby group was there too. And I mean, that makes sense. And it makes sense that you're dealing with them. I mean, you'd think that you would actually try and bring a liberal and NDP and everything else there too to try and actually have a conversation about things.
Well, so that way too, you ensure that these laws are being made, everybody's on the same page, so they carry over should the party in power change, right? Because this is kind of a problem we have where we had a party in power who made all these changes, and then the new party came in and reversed all those changes. No, I mean,
Kathleen Wynne wanted nothing to do with the convenience stores having beer.
She's one member of the Liberal Party. She was in power. She's no longer in power. So find the next leader of the Liberal Party, provincial Liberal Party.
And have them there. Have the next leader.
Talk to them.
Yeah. Have the NDP there. Have the Green Party. Even though the Green Party doesn't get many seats, have them there.
Well, you know what?
Because you know what? It would be one of those things where you kind of want to see what everybody's thoughts are. Even if you're against it, if you're the Liberals and you didn't want them in the convenience store, say why you don't want them there. Bring up the logistics. Bring up the fact that it cost millions upon millions of dollars to get out of the deal that was already signed, and that's why you don't want it. Maybe in 12 years, when the deal's over, we'll let that happen. But for now,
Yep.
this beer is really bad
Why are you still drinking
because it's in my glass. I wish they had been at the roundtable meeting so I didn't have to remember. No, I mean, we talked about a lot of things over the last few days because we just did a Canadian Mental Health Association and Canadian Cancer Society fundraiser at Forefathers, and Forefathers was the apex of a giant problem in the Ontario craft beer scene recently, just the beginning of this year, when one of the co-owners and founders was seen on video beating his girlfriend. Um, Again, with any video, we don't know what led up to that. Not saying he should have. No matter what, he never should have beat his girlfriend, especially with a weapon. But again, you don't see the lead up to any of it. But that's beside the point. At the time, there was a huge talk about boycotting Forefathers because they weren't saying anything about it. Everybody was getting asked questions about it. Everybody was asking things about it, and nothing was being said. Well, the way corporate law works is he's a part owner.
Yeah.
They can't go out and bitch slap their part owner on social media or anything else. He would show up on property and just sit there and stare at people, mostly being like, "Look what the fuck I can do." And that was hurting them too. They were losing business because people would go in and they would see him sitting at the end of the bar. So it took them a while to buy him out. They had to do a lot of things to buy him out, and they had to pay him a lot more money than he probably needed to get to be bought out. And as soon as he was bought out, he was gone. He wasn't allowed on the property anymore. He wasn't this, he wasn't that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this because I do think to an extent a lot of people get too bothered and too worked up about things that they shouldn't, and they try to white knight a lot of issues that they shouldn't. But I don't know how I feel about this just because of who they were smiling with and who they were raising glasses with. And because, again, that's an endorsement of that person. So I don't know because, again, I understand it's a lobby group. I understand what they're trying to do. I understand they're lobbying for better laws. They're lobbying for more access. They're lobbying for more money. Basically, they're lobbying for their business. They're trying to make their business grow. They're trying to scratch out a little more of that fucking that pie.
And they
But
might
at the
have
same
shot
time,
themselves in the foot because
because of Sam
they
Oosterhoff.
supported that arse.
Thank you there, Adam Sandler. I am very happy with the new lady. It should have been the only lady. But back in high school, I was too stupid to say anything to her. I had to wait 18 years. I don't even, like I said, I don't know. I don't know what I should think about this. I think I'm one of the people that's going into it open-minded and understanding why they were doing what they were doing. But I think at the same time, I'm somebody that's pissed off that it was Sam Oosterhoff.
I mean, like I said, they probably could have turned down
the photo op.
Or
had
maybe not
there.
Look so happy in the photo op. I mean, there are examples of people who've taken photo ops with politicians they didn't agree with, and they look absolutely just not like they endorse that person whatsoever.
Well, I mean, and this is the thing, right? There was a guy on Instagram and on Twitter saying, I don't understand why you're all offended by this. This is what they're trying to do. And again, it's because that picture is endorsement. That picture is endorsement. This is the reason why there's sports teams that don't go to meet presidents that they don't agree with. A lot of them haven't gone to meet Trump. Tim Thomas was one that didn't like Obama. He did not go when his team won the Stanley Cup to get a picture with Obama because he did not endorse him. And that's perfectly fine. That's your right. And I mean, I think that's what it comes down to is these breweries, they might not have a problem with the Conservatives. I don't think they did their homework on who was there, who the representative was.
I think you're really giving that, I don't even want to call him a man because he really, the maturity level there is not there. But they gave this politician power and support that he really didn't need.
he doesn't need any more of it. He isn't somebody who should be endorsed with that kind of mindset.
Cucked Canadians? What the fuck do you mean by cucked Canadians?
What?
Somebody just said cucked Canadians.
Okay. Alrighty.
So again, the main problem in my mind is that it was Sam Oosterhoff that was sent there that they were with. And again, for anyone that's just joining in now, the live viewers, Sam Oosterhoff is a 21-year-old MPP in Ontario who was elected at 19. Basically, had the silver spoon life. Uh, Two biggest notables in his career so far is voting down the interprovincial library stuff and then calling the cops on elderly people over the age of 65. It was 65 to 90 year
They were
olds.
senior citizens.
They were senior citizens, 65 to 90 year olds that did a quiet read in his office, uh, legally allowed to protest peacefully, called the cops on these 60 and 65 to 90 year olds because he didn't want to deal with them, and also was quoted on video saying we were going to make abortion unthinkable in our lifetime. So again, I'm not pro-life and I'm not pro-choice. I guess I'm more pro-choice than anything because it's your body, do whatever the fuck you want. And I try not to get political at all on this stuff, and it's just weird because, again, I don't care if you like the Conservatives. I don't care if you're a Liberal. I don't care if you're an NDP. I don't care about any of that. I was saying to my wife here, what I would have loved to have done for this federal election is get a sign for every single person, all the way down to the independents that are running, put them all on my lawn, and put a sign that says "Just fucking vote."
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't care what you are. What I care about is whether or not you're a shitty human being. And I think a shitty human being is anyone that's going to try to control the life of somebody else to the point where you don't have any free choice. I'm sorry. I have the free choice to wake up, go to work, and all that sort of stuff. I don't have to go to work. I can live on the street if I really want to. It's going to suck, but I can. But I mean, I shouldn't have to be. I shouldn't be. What's the best? If I want to go get fixed, I should be able to go get fixed, because that's the next stepping stone. So you can't abort. Well, now you can't get fixed. Now you can't use condoms. Now you can't do anything. Because, if you're having sex, you might as well have a child. But I mean, again, I'm digressing now, because the whole problem is
It's a complicated matter, and really it shouldn't come down to a politician making that choice for anybody.
no. But again, the whole conversation is about this roundtable photo op.
Yep.
And you're pro-choice. The baby should just be able to decide it's not murdered. Be pro-choice then. Wait, pro-life, right?
That was he said pro-choice.
He said pro-choice, but he meant pro-life. Hell, I was supposed to be an abortion. I don't hold it against my mother. I understand. And was it Steve Hofstetter that brought up the thing? The argument's usually if this person was aborted, he couldn't do this. Well, yeah, that's exactly it.
Is that his argument?
Yeah, that they're like...
that's the new argument that comes out, but...
Well, no, he was making fun of that argument. His thing was, yeah, you're right. If he's not here, he couldn't have done that.
Which is... It's a moot point, because you wouldn't know that person was ever supposed to exist, so it really just...
I mean, I don't even want to talk about this thing. Let's switch off again. We're digressing further from where we were. And I mean, this is the thing. You can have a different opinion than me. I'm not going to hate you for it. It is what it is. Just because we differ doesn't mean either of us are wrong. We don't agree. That's perfectly fine. So you're trolling. Okay. Gotcha. Done talking. Troll away. Ignored. Anyway. Ooh,
What the
what's...
fuck are you doing?
My finger's hitting the screen. Um... Oh. So, I guess this is where I'm going with this. If you're mad at the OCB for this photo shoot, I understand. If you're not mad at the OCB for this photo shoot, I understand. If you support the breweries after the photo shoot, I understand. If you don't support the breweries after the photo shoot, I understand. If you're pissed off because Sam Oosterhoff is there, I understand. If you like Sam Oosterhoff, I'm not a big fan of you, but I understand. And I'm not going to say you're wrong because, again, you're allowed to have your opinions. I think they're a little antiquated, but you're allowed to have those opinions. I can only hope that even Mr. Oosterhoff, as he grows older, realizes that, maybe people should have choice of their own body. Maybe people shouldn't be fascistly controlled. Maybe he won't. I mean, I'm a weird guy because I'm liberal and conservative at the same time. I guess I'd be more libertarian because they're more right down the center, everybody just do whatever the fuck they want. But we have babies.
We do. We have a daughter.
We have lots of...
we technically have 5 between the two of us. But...
I wish I had kept my tripod. Because this gets tiring.
Does it?
It does. It also gets shakier than fuck. So again, I'm glad that Sawdust City distanced themselves from things. Sam is a great guy, and I wouldn't want to see his business get hurt by people white knighting things right away and jumping to conclusions. And I think that's what it comes down to, is exactly like we talked about right at the beginning. They are a lobby group. This is what they have to do to get their stuff done, and I understand that. I'm not going to hold it against anybody that wants to boycott those breweries. You're perfectly in your right to do that, and you have so many choices to spend your money on that it doesn't matter. I'm not going to judge you if you don't want to boycott those breweries, because again, it's your money, you spend it wherever you want. I just I don't know if they... This is my thing, right? Do these breweries agree with his thoughts? Do they agree with his thoughts, or did they just do the photo op not knowing who he was, or do the photo op not caring because, this is the photo op we're doing because this is what we're trying to do, we're lobbying for this? I think that's my real question on it. I mean, there is so many people angry right now. There's so many people bitching about the breweries that were involved. There's so many people out after the OCB in general. There's so many people angry about who was sent there. And I mean, that's the other thing, right? It was in Grimsby. Is he... You have your internet. Is he Grimsby?
He's Niagara West, I believe.
Niagara West, that is Grimsby, isn't it? I think that's Grimsby, Stony Creek, that type of shit. Because that might be the reason he's there, because that was his riding.
Niagara
Yeah, Niagara. It just says Niagara West, which I believe you are correct. He was born and raised in Vineland, so.
Well, that's the thing. They're
He's
actually,
also homeschooled.
of course, he's homeschooled. That's the thing. Ashley is he isn't even their current COO. That's why Sawdust jumped on that thing. Um, I don't know what's your views on the whole thing. What's your thoughts? I mean, this is the thing we're saying, right? They're a lobby group. I understand why they did it. Um, if Sam Oosterhoff was there because of the fucking it being in Grimsby, and that's his riding, maybe they should have done it somewhere else. Under because that's the thing, right? I think a lot of people would have been okay with them doing a photo op with conservatives, as long as it wasn't him. People would have probably been pissed off if it was Doug Ford too, but you know what? He's the premier. He's probably the one that should have been there.
Probably, but I think people would have been less mad.
Yeah, because he won't say a thing.
Alcohol and...
He won't say a thing about the topic that people are pissed off about.
Yep, exactly. Well, and an interesting fun fact, apparently Patrick Brown, the former leader of the PC, was accused of muzzling Oosterhoff during the campaign because of his ideology.
What's that?
Patrick Brown, the former leader of PC before Doug Ford, was accused of muzzling Oosterhoff during the campaign because of his opposition, because of his ideologies, including that of the new sexual education curriculum.
Okay, so I wonder what Justin will be for Halloween. Justin Trudeau. Ashley, so Oosterhoff is known for saying he's going to make abortion unthinkable in our lifetime. He's known for calling the police on senior citizens that were doing a quiet read-in uh, protest in his office, and talking a lot about sex ed, talking a lot about a lot of things.
Apparently, he's also against same-sex couples becoming legal parents.
Oh yeah, he's talked about that.
He's a fine, upstanding human being. He really just doesn't like anybody, does he?
So I mean, again, I understand the picture. I understand the breweries that were there. A lot of those breweries, again, GLB, quite well known for supporting the Conservative Party, and you can very well support the Conservative Party. They do sometimes have some great ideas. When they decide to tell you how they're doing it. But
the current progressive
I don't even,
party
you know what, we're not even going to talk about that. People can like whatever party they want.
They can. They really can.
But I understand the lobby group doing it. I understand the breweries being there. I don't know if those breweries were there because they were the only ones that really support the stuff, or if they were there for different reasons.
They probably didn't know who he was.
Well, I'm gonna guess some of them didn't.
Because he's quite young.
He's quite young. He is even with the Ford administration. He isn't put on camera often.
No, and don't get me wrong. He really is somebody that could hurt the PCs in Ontario because, again, he's against abortion and same-sex marriage. He believes they should both be illegal. But he also states that he's absolutely not a homophobe. So, I mean, really, he's somebody that they may not want on camera very much. So they very much could have not known who he was. I don't know how, but it's possible. I like to go with that. They know who he was.
Well, and again, even if you know who he is, you do have to if he's the representative they're sending, you do have to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the thing. If he's the representative they're sending, that's the man the lobby group has to talk to. And the roundtable meeting had a lot of people there. I think that the thing that everybody's going against is that picture with him in the very front with that big smile on his face and everybody smiling behind him. But again, it's I don't want to say the people that are screaming boycott are just being offended to be offended.
No.
But I don't want to say that everybody should jump behind them with pitchforks. I think in the end it was a fairly innocent meeting.
Like I said, they probably didn't know who he was.
And even if they did know who he was, they probably didn't think that this one picture with him would ruin the entire thing they were trying to do. Or harm it to the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's funny, right? Because what's this?
That's what.
Is this about a bunch of goofy Canadians being offended again? Sort of.
No.
Yes and no at the same time. It's about a thing that happened with the Ontario craft brewers over the weekend that has been spiking all over the internet. Well, all over social media in Ontario. And again, I'm almost happy that I'm going up to the Arctic where I don't have to deal with any of this shit. I don't have to deal with people being offended. I don't have to deal with the idiocracy of it all. I can just turn on my blinders and not read the news anymore because there's no news up there. Hey, there's 1,700 people living in this one place. Oh, look, it snowed today. News is the polar bear walked into town. Like, I'm almost excited by the prospect of just leaving after everything that's happening right now. After watching not just the country, but even the province become so polarized over everything. And nobody can sit back and think about why things happened or how things happened. What happened? Okay. We are far in now, so I guess we can explain for American and European viewers what we're talking about if they just joined. Over the weekend, there was a roundtable meeting between the Ontario Craft Brewers Association, the Convenience Store Association, a bunch of Ontario craft brewers, and the current party in power in Ontario, which is the Conservative Party. Uh, there was a photo op with all those breweries that were there with the president of the OCB, with the president of the Convenience Store Association, like lobby groups, because they are trying to get beer into corner stores, even though it's going to cost the taxpayers millions upon millions of dollars to do it. That's what they're trying to do, which is fine. Do whatever. I'm leaving Ontario anyway. I don't care. But the Conservative representative sent was Sam Oosterhoff. Again, Sam Oosterhoff is a young kid. He's 21 years old right now. He was elected at 19. Elected at 19, never really had a job, was homeschooled, uh, was quoted on film saying he's going to make abortion unthinkable in our lifetime, uh, fully against gay marriage, calls the cops on senior citizens that are doing a quiet, peaceful protest in his office because he will not talk to them about the votes he did to close down library services. Just a upstanding young man, and again, he's somebody that even the Conservative Party has tried to silence many times. Fuck. the federal Conservative Party tries to shut up Doug Ford, and Doug Ford tries to shut up this kid. So I mean, that's the type of world we're in.
Yep.
This they, I don't think anyone knew what they were getting into in the Conservative Party when they brought him in, because he goes super right wing, where the Conservative Party are not. As much as a lot of left wingers want to make the Conservative Party super right wing, they're more in the middle of the right. They do have some people that are crazy right, and the liberals do have some people that are crazy left. So I mean, again, I don't care what political party you like, what political party you follow, what political party you want to vote for. I think the words and actions of your representative should matter more than the party itself. So I mean, if you support the Conservatives, but you have this gay kid in your family that you love with all your heart, you probably shouldn't vote in the guy that doesn't believe in gay rights. Just there. Even though you support the Conservatives, maybe you shouldn't do that. But I mean, again, this was a roundtable meeting with a lot of lobby groups. I understand why they were all there. And again, Niagara West was Grimsby, I do believe. So I understand why Sam was there, and I understand why people are frustrated and angry about the photo op. But I don't think oh my god, we shouldn't be part of the OCB anymore is a right action. I mean, you can make that action. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I don't think it's the right action for it. The breweries care about his views on gay rights. It doesn't have anything to do with beer. You're correct. What it is the people that are out there angry that these
Well,
breweries, the
these
customers of
breweries.
these breweries, angry that this man was endorsed by these breweries in a photo op.
That's the thing when dealing with politicians, is that you have to be very careful with who you choose to endorse.
You can endorse anyone you want, but their views are going to get come back on you.
Mm-hmm.
You can endorse Trudeau if you want. His views are going to come back on you. You can endorse Singh if you want. His views are going to come back on you. You can endorse all Oosterhoff. His views are going to come back on you. Because they're going to say, if you endorse this man, you believe the same as him. Or you're okay with his views. Or you support his views. Even if you don't fully agree with them, you support them. Because it's really what you're doing. When you endorse somebody, you're saying this person's A-okay. So I understand the frustration. I don't. I think it would have been better for the breweries that want to leave the OCB over this to have said, like, had a conversation over it. Why is this what we're doing now? Is this our views? Can you make a stance? And I think that would be the big question. Can you make a stance about it? Can you distance yourselves from his views? But I think it's just fucked up the way politics and lobby groups and everything work, because even if the OCB came out and distanced themselves from Oosterhoff, now Doug Ford could distance himself from them and not do what he said he was going to do for them. Because they distanced themselves from a conservative candidate. And I mean, I don't talk politics at all on this channel, and I'm still trying to stay away from it. I'm trying to just talk about the story itself.
The story itself is political.
Well, I know the story in itself is political, but I'm saying I'm not trying to say my view's right, your view's wrong. I'm trying not to have a view at all. I'm trying to be as neutral as I can on the topic.
Unfortunately,
But
you're not Switzerland.
I'm not Switzerland, you're right. You don't think inviting someone with opposing views means you endorse them. Well, that's the thing. It's not that they invited somebody with opposing views.
They didn't. That person got sent to them. That's who they had to deal with. And I think we said earlier, just because you had to deal with somebody doesn't mean you need to smile in a photo with them. Because again, it doesn't matter that somebody think they agree with his views or not. Other people are going to think they agree with his views, and it's going to affect their business. it's already affecting their business.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not him just being there is endorsing him. It's the photo op is endorsing him.
Yeah.
The holding, like putting your arm around him and holding up a beer with him is endorsing him. Don't do the photo op. Have him there to say his piece. Don't do the photo op if you don't endorse him. Hell, again, how many sports teams have not gone to see Trump because they don't endorse him? How many sports athletes did not go to see Obama because they didn't endorse him? Because I want to make sure that you get that I'm not against one or the other, right? Tim Thomas didn't go to see Obama. That was his right. And he didn't go to see Obama because he didn't endorse Obama. He didn't agree with Obama. which is fine. There's lots of people that don't do photo ops with Justin Trudeau because they don't agree with him. They don't follow him. There was that flood, and Justin Trudeau showed up for photo ops during the flood, and workers did not take photos with him because they didn't want to.
They did the same with Ford too.
Some of them took photos with Ford though because Ford was actually moving sandbags.
Yeah, he moved a sandbag.
He moved more than one.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so he moved two.
Doesn't matter.
He did not spend all day working there. He's a fucking politician. Don't tell me he stood there working all day. That fuck lifted more than two, I'd be surprised.
But again, so they both showed up for photo ops. Some members of the military told them both to fuck off.
Yep.
Because they didn't want to take photos with them because they were there to work. They were there to do something.
Rightfully, they should have told both of them to fuck off. Like, seriously, you're busy doing work. There's legit shit going down.
Yeah.
The last thing you need is politicians and their security teams mucking the place up.
The nation's capital is flooding.
Right. Stay the fuck out. Go back to your ivory towers where you fucking belong and let the real people do the work.
I mean, I'm not against anybody's view. You can disagree with that view. You can disagree that taking the photo op is an endorsement. That's fine. I'm not even saying it's really an endorsement as much as I'm saying this is what the world looks at it. There are OCB breweries that are now saying they're not going to be part of the OCB anymore. And again, I think that might be a little overkill. I think that might be something where they should have a conversation with their brass, with their team. Well, I mean, really, would you... The ECCDC, right? You have to... Well, the College of ECs.
The College of ECs.
You have to be part of that to get a job.
I have to be a part of it to be a registered EC and get paid EC's wage, yes.
Okay, so something happens that you don't agree with. Do you talk to them more about it, or do you just say, fuck this, I'm not being part of them anymore?
Well, considering I'm moving to Quebec and giving up being an EC, I'm going to say, fuck it. No.
Okay.
That's not, no. No, it's something that gets discussed. Because we are an elected college, so we do elect our officials. And so when things go down like that, that is something that gets discussed.
Well, that's the thing. They elect their officials for the OCB as well. Mm-hmm. So you would think you would sit down with, well, you would send stuff to your representatives. You would send stuff to your team. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, we don't agree with this. Can we distance ourselves from this? Can we make a statement saying that we were in this meeting with this man because he is a conservative. He is the party in power. We're talking about things that can change our business. That does not mean we agree with his policies. Because that's really what it comes down to. You have to distance yourself from his policies and his beliefs. Because that's what the world sees.
That's the thing, though. Like, if I don't agree with Darlene Edgar, who is the president of the College VCs, if I don't agree with her views, I'm not going to take photo ops with her. I have to be a member of the College of VCs because I need that for my job. However, I don't need to endorse her. And when election time comes rolling around, I don't vote for her again. I don't ever vote, but for the college. But, you know.
It's called diplomacy, taking photos with people of opposing views.
Yes and no.
A lot of leftists don't understand how diplomacy works.
What?
A lot of leftists don't understand how diplomacy works. I guess I'm being called a leftist right now.
No. I understand how diplomacy works, And again, it's not about how I see it. Like I said, like he said, that yeah, them leaving and them boycotting, yeah, okay, that's a little overkill. However, their customers are seeing this, and they're seeing them endorsing this guy and giving this guy far more
And I mean,
page
if we're
than
gonna
he
try
was.
and put it on leftists and rightists,
Yeah.
there is a lot of people on the right that have said, "Hey, this brewery had Justin Trudeau in it and stuff. I'm not going there ever again."
Yeah. It happens
It's the
on
way
both sides.
it does. It happens on both sides, and you can't even say it's one party or the other.
No.
Both sides have, and I mean, here in Canada, we have more than two parties. I mean, most of the parties are center leaning or left leaning.
Mm-hmm.
Quebec has two right leanings.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and that's what it comes down to. It's on both sides, and you shouldn't just look at something and go, "This person's there. It means that they fully support it." I understand that, but if the photo op is happening, that's how it's looked upon, and then it's up to that business to come out and say, "Yeah, this is why we did this. We don't agree with
we
everything."
don't agree with his ideologies in that particular sense, but this was the person we had to work with and deal with to continue our business and to expand our business.
And like I said at the very beginning, Great Lakes is very well known to be a conservative brewery. They donate to the PC campaign. They're perfectly allowed to. I don't have a problem with that. Donate to whoever you want. Follow whatever government you want. Because for the most part, except for the man that's trying for the federal right now, most people aren't fully Oosterhoff type of thinking
No.
in the conservatives.
Very few actually are.
And that's the thing. Very few are, and usually when they are, they're shut down. They're not allowed on camera. They're not this. They're just sat on the back benches, and that's where they're left.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that this kid is so young. He goes out to everything, and he's always on camera saying his things that people are jumping on this because he's brought himself into the news so many times with his views that people have jumped on it, and people jump on it more and more and more because of the fact that, again, he just continues to steamroll things. As much as the Conservative Party tries to shut him up, he just continues the steamroll of his stuff. And then after that picture, because he's been in the media so much, people have been freaking out. And again, they have the right to freak out. I still think it is way over the top. There should be more of a discussion than anything else. But
he may change his views in time. You're absolutely correct. I don't think taking photos with him and being diplomatic is going to change his views.
No,
I think
and
life
I mean,
experience will change his views if they change
you
at
did
all.
you did join later, where I already said maybe as he ages, his views will change because again, he was 19 when he was elected.
He's now like 21.
He's now 21. He is a young kid. He was homeschooled. He grew up very, very, very religious.
Privileged.
And don't.
No, it's true though. Like he's not in touch with that kind of reality because he doesn't have those experiences as of yet. He may one day, and nobody's saying he's evil. He has these views that are, again, they're stemming from an incredibly religious, closed-minded sort of background, and that's not saying that everybody's religious is closed-minded, but there are a lot of them are. And
Well, just like there are a lot of leftists that are just crazy in what they think is politically correct.
Exactly.
I mean, I am more a centrist. I am.
It's not that it's evil, but it's understanding that he doesn't see the damage he does to people with these views and the damage he can do to people with these views. He's somebody who's in a position of power, and with those views, he can create a shitstorm for a lot of people in the world.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that was said, right? Is a lot of women came on and said, "So this is who you're doing this with, and this is who your photo op with. How do you think doing your photo op with him is making us feel about your businesses?"
Exactly. And I'm not censoring him. I'm not banning him. I've never gone to him and said he can't have these views. I don't agree with his views in any way, shape, or form. And I choose not to agree with his views by not voting for him. And I have not said that I will not support the breweries who were in these pictures. I don't support any brewery in particular because I don't drink beer. They don't always come out of the dark, though. Here's the thing: there is a man in his 70s who's currently in the highest position of power in the States who has never come out of the dark. All right? Like, so, I mean, they don't always come out of the dark. They don't always have those experiences. I would like to think that everybody comes to some sort of realization, but at the end of the day, it doesn't always happen. And I'm not saying he's an inherently bad guy. He's a guy incredibly lacking in life experience. And due to his upbringing, in the most sense. And yeah, maybe in time he'll learn. Maybe somebody will get through to him. I don't know. Maybe not. I can hope somebody will get back to him, but you know, I, yeah, I'd hate to believe. I don't want to believe that he's a bad guy, but his views could create some very horrific, hate-fueled shitstorm for a lot of people. I have a brother who is gay. I don't think that he shouldn't have the right to marry. I don't see why that should be anybody's opinion except for the two people who are involved in the relationship. Why should they have any different rights? It's the same for abortion. It's the same for all of these views. That is something that politicians should not be making decisions on those kinds of things for people's lives.
Politicians should be making decisions on the way the country's ran, not the way you live your life.
Yes, and your religion should not, in Canada, we should be separating church from state. We always have. That is our foundation. And his religious views should not affect his politics. In a perfect world. Clearly, that's not how it goes. But he can have his religious views and he can have his views. They shouldn't be affecting the public.
So where we're at basically is, I think over, I think the photo op might have been something they shouldn't have done. I think the overreacting on the photo op is something that shouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sawdust City is the one that did it the best by distancing themselves with all of that.
They did.
And I mean, even the way they wrote their distancing, they weren't saying whether or not they support the Conservatives or anything like that. They're just, we don't agree with his ideologies. We did not know this man was going to this thing. We did not know he was going to wear some of our merch. Blah, 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 blah. Again, GLB, I know the owner of GLB. GLB has a great staff, great owner. Yeah, they've put money into the Conservatives. I don't care because they're great. They are good people. They are inclusive people. And the fact that there was a photo op with this man, this boy, really. I mean, the fact that the photo op happened doesn't. Again, like you said, I don't think everybody knew who he was. They just knew he was a conservative.
The thing is, you can be like, I'm not conservative. I've never voted conservative. I probably never will conservative. Do I disagree with everything the conservatives come up with? Fuck no. I do agree with some of their stuff, just not enough for me to ever vote for them. Do I agree with everything the liberals say? Hell no, I don't. Do I agree with everything? No, I don't. But I pick the party that best matches what I do believe in the best way. No party is ever going to be perfect. No politician is ever going to be perfect. I don't think they think that's part of the job description. They're not allowed to be perfect. They're supposed to be lying scumbags. It's just part of the job in a lot of ways.
We talked about the fact that there was that one election I abstained from, and that was the last federal election. And I abstained because I really liked the conservative. Candidate in Niagara Falls at the time. I didn't want to give a vote for somebody that helped Harper. I didn't like the NDP vote, but I would have given a vote to Uncle Tom. But the NDP candidate was somebody that's never voted anything good for our area, and she was on Niagara City Council, and she was an idiot in Niagara City Council too. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I can't do this. Then I looked at the Green Party, and the Green Party was just all about environment and nothing else. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at the Libertarian, and as much as I think that I'm partially a libertarian. He was just fucked in the head. I'm like, can't do this. And then I looked at the liberal, and the liberal guy was somebody I could get behind as well, but I didn't want to get behind Justin Trudeau because of his choice on some things and the way he worded some things, like the anti-terrorist bill, where he wouldn't say one way or another which way he was sitting. Like, okay, if you can't say what you feel on this, I can't vote for you. So after looking at everybody, I'm like, I have to abstain. I can't find a candidate. I can't find a party that I trust, and I can't find a candidate I trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, nothing's ever going to be perfect, like you said. And now I'm going far off the weird path again.
Well,
You took me off my fucking path.
You know what? We've been at this a while, so the path is bound to go.
No, I know.
Friend.
So again,
everybody's
overreacting on both sides, to be honest. You're allowed to have your reactions. I just don't think that they warranted some of the actions.
You don't want to cut off your own nose to spite them. That's just what at the end of the day. Like, don't distance yourself from his politics.
You set up your roundtable meeting, and you're told Sam Oosterhoff is the one that the Conservatives are
Do your
sending.
research and then learn to distance yourself from
sorry.
his politics if you don't agree with it.
You set up your roundtable meeting, they tell you Sam Oosterhoff is coming. You don't like Sam Oosterhoff? Don't cancel your meeting, because your meeting is your lobby group to try and get what you need in your industry. However, you don't have to do the photo op, and if you do the photo op,
you don't have to look happy.
You don't have to look happy, and if you do look happy, and you know who the guy is, and you don't support his views, maybe you should make a statement distancing yourself from him, because the average Joe doesn't understand government at all.
And that, my friend, is diplomacy. For whoever said leftists don't understand it. That right there is how you are diplomatic in that situation.
The average person doesn't understand government at all. And you see it all the time. In Canada, there's an election.
It's because we don't talk about politics.
We don't teach it enough.
It's because it's considered rude to talk politics and religion, so nobody knows how to actually have actual discussions about politics.
We're about to have a federal election. Justin Trudeau has made it so that the Liberals probably aren't going to win. Maybe they will. And if they do, they'll probably have a minority government.
Honestly, if they win, it'll be because he's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
In a lot of people's minds.
Andrew Scheer is going to be the thing that costs the Conservatives. If anything costs the Conservatives, it's going to be Andrew Scheer. The NDP have a chance. The thing that's going to cost them is that their leader is a Sikh, and too many people in Canada are scared of that. However, if the NDP win, they have a great platform. If they win, they'll get a minority government. They won't be able to do anything. 4 years from now, people will say they didn't do anything. We're going to vote them out. Because if you have a minority government, you can't get any of your shit passed. Because everybody else blocks you. Unless you make deals with another party and, you compromise and give them half of what they want, too. So, I mean, not enough people understand the way government works, and not enough people understand the way lobby groups work, and not enough people understand how you get a political party to pass a bill that will help you. And that's what it comes down to. Nobody seems to get it. Everybody wants to get offended by everything. I understand the offense of him. I think people aren't giving the groups that were involved the benefit they should get. They're not being given the chance. It's just they were in a picture with him.
And they very well could have not known who he was. Or his politics. I mean, who thinks about that when you're going into a craft brewery?
Like he was saying when he said that leftists don't understand it. At the same time, he said, why would they care about this? Well, that's just the thing. They probably didn't. They probably didn't look up anything.
That's what's going to hurt them, because they should have probably looked the guy up. But, like I said, those extremists are so few and far between. But they're becoming more and more commonplace, unfortunately, in this political climate.
It's extremists on both sides. I mean, again, they're not...
Definitely. I mean, the left have gone completely over a fucking cliff in their political correctness, and the right have gone completely off a cliff in their extremist views of how other people's lives should be run.
And the people that are in the middle aren't the ones that get TV time.
No.
Ever, on either side. The people in the middle are the ones that
Because they don't tell a good story.
no. It's not oh
They
my god
don't.
this or oh my god that.
They don't give people answers. They don't tell people how to live their lives. They let people make those choices, and people don't want to always make those choices. People want somebody to tell them what to do a lot of times. People are cognitive misers. We don't like to have to think about things. We like to put things in neat little boxes.
Anyway, guys, we gots to go. Bye-bye.